strand, and we need our working strand. Our lazy strand consists of one piece of beading material. I'm using hemp here, but depending on bead hole size you can use satin cord. Beading thread will go through most of the holes, then we have the hemp, we have the leather, so there are a myriad of materials you can use just depending on the hole of the gemstone. So first of all we thread on our beads. I've used some bronzite on here and I've used the 0.5 millimeter size blue hemp cord. So to attach it to the macrame board we simply pop it in one of the slots at the top. We bring it round the back to the front and we repeat the same process with the bottom. So we attach it through a slot, we bring it round the adjoining slot, pass it underneath the material and pop it underneath. So that is now nice and secure. You should be able to strum it like a guitar chord. So that's now in position. So this is what's called our lazy strand. Lazy because it doesn't do anything, its sole job is to hold on to the beads. Next we bring in our working strand. Now as far as measurements go, for your lazy strand you need at least twice around the wrist, and for the working strand you need 3 times twice around the wrist, so 6 times. That's an average proximity. Again, it depends on the wrist size and the material you're using, but if you stick to that general rule, twice around the wrist for the lazy and 6 times around the wrist for the working, you should be okay. So to start, we've got our piece of macrame hemp. This is 1 millimeter, so it's slightly thicker. And to start our bracelet, we go underneath the lazy strand and we do a square knot. So that is half a square knot, and we repeat the same process but on the right hand side to form our full square knot. So we'll just repeat that once more. So to do our square knot we do the left hand side, which becomes half a square knot, and on the right, which complete the 2 halves, which will make your square knot. Like so. Now to cage a bead, we simply pop a bead up to the top just so it touches the piece of work that you've been making, and we do exactly the same process. You do a square knot, but this time around the bead. So we go across, opposite corner, underneath the 2 threads and pull. So that's half a square knot, and then we go onto the right hand side and this will complete the knot. And then if you wanted to, you could do a few more stitches, but in this case we'll pop up another bead and we will repeat the process. So we'll do the half on the left hand side and then half on the right hand side, and then you'll continue this process until you get to the desired length of your bracelet. Now I'm going to show you the 2 ways that I would finish off a macrame bracelet. So as you can see, we've got our beads down the middle. We've got about 1 inch of macrame without a bead at the top and also at the bottom. So the first way of finishing off, if we take this one off the board first, is the sliding clasp. Like so. So as you can see, we've got our beads through the middle and we've got our lazy strand either side, and we've got our remnants of our lazy strand. So what we would do is we would cut left and right as close as we can to the beading material here, but first we would just pop a bit of glue in the little well that we've got on the end there, and then also on the back, on the reverse. If you can, leave it overnight, but within half an hour it should be dry enough to cut away. So we would then cut away our ends, so this side and that side, like so. Now one of those keep, because you'll need this to make your sliding clasp. Now to make our sliding clasp, we take our piece of material, and this is why it's really important that you have long enough lazy strand, is you fold them over each other, like so. So you've got equal length on each side. And then what we would do, we would attach corner to corner. So we'd pop that in the little slot there, and we would take that across into the slot there. So in effect, your 2 lazies have now become 1 lazy. So all we do then is we just tilt it on the vertical, and we take our piece of thread that we've just cut away and we pop it underneath, and all we do then is we do a little piece of macrame, like so, probably about an inch, half an inch to an inch. I'll just do a smaller piece here for demonstration. 3, 4. So I'll stop at 4, but you would continue that to about an inch or until you've used up all of your excess material. What you would then do is you would take it off of your board, and again you would need to glue this little section, but if you did glue this and left it overnight, it would glue itself solid to the lazy strand. So what you would need to do is pop a little bit of glue on the front and the back, and then just manipulate it, just slide it backwards and forwards so that the knotting dries, but doesn't actually knot itself dry to the lazy strand. So we've done that. That's now set in glue. We cut those away, 1, 2, and we're left with our lazy strands and our little piece of macrame in the middle, which will then enable you to open and close. Now at the moment, if we open that too far, the ends would be lost and it would come undone. So we need to just make little stoppers on the bottom of our lasers. So we take another 2 beads, corresponding or of a smaller size, and we make sure that the bracelet is closed before we do this. So just close it up. Obviously yours will be a lot bigger making. So we pop on one of our beads, like so, and we pop one on the other thread, like so. And then all we do then is decide on what length you want your little toggle to be. I tend to do mine by about an inch, inch and a half. And you would just tie a simple overhand knot. Just draw it up to the length of the toggle that you want. So pop it down to there, and just do another knot on top of that one, because we don't want the knot slipping through the gemstone. Like so. And then you have your little toggle. And then you would repeat the same on the other side. So you had 2 equal length toggles, both with a knot. You would cut away any excess, probably leave about ½ centimetre, just to add a little bit of texture to your bracelet. And then when you pull, you'll see that it'll pull up to the toggle and nowhere else. So that's the first version of finishing off your bracelet. The second one involves our lobster claw clasp and extender chain. So I'll quickly show you how to do that. Again, so we finished our bracelet and we take it off of our board, top and bottom. Like so. And this time, there's no gluing involved. This is a much easier way of actually finishing off a bracelet. So we take our lobster claw and extender, which comes apart into 2 pieces. A preference, I always start with the side that has the 3, has the working and also the lazy and the lobster. So all we do for this is we pop in our 3 ends, making sure that we don't put any of the macrame that we've made into the little cradle there, just butted up against it, otherwise it won't close neatly. We take our flat nose pliers and we just crunch one side up, not fully, just so it holds the hemp, and then we bring the other side across, flatten it nice and tight. Okay, and then being careful as we don't cut off any of the finding, we cut away the loose ends like so. And then we turn it 180 degrees and we repeat the same, bearing in mind that now this is the inside of the bracelet because we've got the folded over sides of the clasp. So we repeat the same process, making sure that the cradle sides point upwards. And then we do exactly the same process. So we pop that into the cradle. We bring the hemp cord butting up against where the macrame started, close it up. So do one side first, fold over the top, just position it so it's nice and central before we clamp it fully. And again, we would cut away any of the ends, like so, turn it over onto the right way. Now just to add the little bit of finish and to make it look very nice, we're going to pop a little what you do is you take a head pin, you pop on a head pin through and you make a little loop and pop it on the end of your chain there, just to add a nice little bit of effect. So we take our head pin, we pop it through our gemstone, we cut away leaving about 1 centimetre, turn the hip pin away, we take our round nose pliers and make a loop, and just before we close the loop, we pop on our chain and close it up. Like so. And then we have our completed bracelet, making sure that we have the folded ends on the inside. And then we can position the clasp anywhere along that chain, but for this we'll pop it on the end there. So you have a nice metal finish to your bracelet with a nice little finish of an extender there.